I am so happy to be here today at Pueblo Norte Senior Living in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm going to be interviewing not a resident, but the activities director, Miss Jo Smith. Now, if you're wondering what an activities director does in an active community like Pueblo Norte, they're in charge of all the activities. That includes coordinating events. Musicians come into play. There are speakers that come in. Games are offered, happy hour, special events. They coordinate going on trips and even go along, as Jo will share with us. She has traveled not only maybe out of town, out of the state, but out of the country as well. Now, I recall years ago working in a community as a sales manager, and I'd see the activities director. I think, man, I don't know if I have the energy for that job. So did I mention that Jo is 82 years young? Oh, that's just incredible. So thanks for being on the show today. Really appreciate having you here. Now stick around after the podcast and you're going to hear more about this fabulous community. They offer independent living, assisted living, and a brand new memory care is going in, and that's going to be this fall. So lots of exciting things going on, renovations. We're also going to talk a little with the people who support the community, including Dr. Newcomb with ASAP Health Solutions. You can have the doctor come in and visit in your apartment. You don't even have to leave. So that's so convenient for the residents. And Homewell Care Services is offered here. And so they do home care depending on what is needed. So residents can stay here living as independently as possible. Maybe they need a little help with things like laundry or med management. Maybe they're recovering from a temporary setback and someone can come in and help as they get ready in the morning and help in the evenings as well. So it seems like for someone who just wants to call Pueblo Norte home, this is just such a great solution. So thanks for being here today, Jo. Appreciate it. Now, you've been the activities director here for 32 years,
32
right?
32 years, yes.
Yes. So what are some of your job responsibilities?
Well, as you said in the beginning, to plan the events, the special events, the speakers, the musicians, the art classes, the exercise classes, all of the events, the travel. As we speak, I have a group that's gone up to Flagstaff today to ride the gondola up at the Snow Bowl. So
doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah, they were very excited. Yeah,
yes,
so everything that goes on is, I plan that, work with a lot of outside people that bring me good musicians, that bring me speakers, art teachers, musicians, everything.
And I know you have a lot of artists here in
we do have
in the community as well.
A couple of well-known artists have been in our community.
Yes, and I know you featured their art sometimes on the walls,
right.
So that's always really nice that you recognize them. Now you have such a lovely accent, so can you tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you grew up?
Yes, I'll be glad to. I'm from a little town in western North Carolina called Robbinsville. It's a very small town up in the mountains. I believe that the current population right now is about 800 in the town and about 8,000 in the county. I went to school there. Big family. There were 10 of us. I happened to be the baby in 10. Still have lots of friends. It's a wonderful little town. Beautiful lakes. Part of the Appalachian Trail goes through our town.
Gorgeous up there. I've never been to that area, but it's on my bucket list.
It's really a beautiful place. We also have the Joyce Kilmer Forest. He wrote the poem.
Oh, yes.
And we have the Dragon, which is a road that has 300 and some curves and 13 miles.
Oh my gosh.
And people come from all over the world to ride that on their Harleys. It's a dangerous road, but it's a beautiful drive.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful area.
Yes.
I have lots of wonderful childhood memories.
Well, wonderful. I know you just had a contest here for residents where some of the staff had pictures of them when they were younger. And there was a picture of you in a dress, and gosh, you just looked like a Hollywood star, that timeless beauty. So where was that picture taken?
That was actually taken when I was in the 7th grade. That was my first kind of a gown, I guess you could call it. Where we lived, there were no stores to purchase that kind of thing. Growing up, my mother made most of my clothes, but I was always very well dressed.
That reminds me of a Dolly Parton song, right?
Right, yeah. And so we would have to go into Asheville to a store called Bob Mache. So that was my first little formal dress.
Okay, and I know you're very fashionable, and
thank you.
You've even worked, I think, in retail, right, in the past. So, yes, I always am excited to see what you're wearing, and your makeup always coordinates with what you're wearing. So I'm always so impressed with that.
Thank you.
Now, when you started working here at Pueblo Norte, do you remember some of the first experiences of when you first started? Did you think, gosh, this is something that I can do, or this is an exhausting job, I don't know if I can stick it out? Or do you remember liking the job at first? Did it take you a while to get used to it?
Well, it was really interesting because I came out of the retail business. I had actually done some fashion shows for this property. And the lady that was the marketing director at that time had also had to take over the activity director's job because they couldn't hire anyone. And she called me and said I should come apply. Well, I really didn't have a clue as to what an activity person does.
Yes.
But I came one day and interviewed and went to work the next day. And it's just been a wonderful experience. But no, I really didn't have a clue as to everything it involved.
Oh, yes, I'm sure, yes. Now, you've met thousands of seniors here at Pueblo Norte over the years. Could you give us some examples of people maybe who stand out in your mind as maybe they had unique jobs or responsibilities or experiences that you could share about?
Yes, we've had some very, very interesting people here, and still do. Today we do. We actually had a child star that lived here at one time, and while she lived here, she donated all of her memoirs to ASU. We had a special event for that. We've had the lady that set up the library system in the state of California and in Alaska actually set up our library system, which we still use part of it today. She was wonderful. We've had several people that have written books that have been published, and they're wonderful books. We actually have copies in our library. We have artists living here now and in the past that actually had studios downtown Scottsdale. It just goes on and on and on. We really have had some wonderful. We actually had a mother-in-law to a very famous actor that lived here until she passed away. And of course, when he came to visit, that was a big deal for everyone to see him.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he was so wonderful with his mother-in-law while she lived here.
Yes.
So we've had a lot of very interesting people.
And I know there was a veteran that lived here a few years back, a lady, gosh, she was a nurse in World War II, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
she spoke a few years back and was talking about the experience of, I think she was at a ball game and, in the military, and then they got word that Pearl Harbor had been bombed, and she saw people running around. And so I just thought, gosh, how amazing that living history is something that she saw.
We had actually the wife of a general that lived here, and she was making him breakfast the morning of Pearl Harbor, and he, of course, had to leave right away. She went in with other women and made parachutes, and she had many, many wonderful stories. It was 5 years before she actually got to see her husband again. But she had a room full of photos and wonderful stories. Sometimes she could talk about her experiences, and And we found that through the year, even with our veterans, that sometimes they can talk about these events, but sometimes it's a little hard for them to remember all the things that really happened. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure, yes. Now, at Pueblo Norte, you've coordinated many trips over the years, and you go out of town with residents or out of town, out of the state, right? You like to go along. So tell me about some of the more memorable places where you've been.
Well, we've really been some wonderful places. We've been to Hawaii, of course. We've been to Greece. We've been all over Mexico. All over Canada. We've been to Costa Rica 3 times. That happens to be my very favorite because I actually lived there in an earlier life. We've just had wonderful experiences. And one of the other places that we really loved was flying into Calgary and going to the Stampede, and then we'd be picked up by a family that had a chateau in Cardston, Alberta. Then we'd go there and stay for a week at this wonderful, it looked like a big bed and breakfast because all the rooms were different. The food was phenomenal, and every day they'd take us out on a tour. We went to Glacier Park, we went to Head Smashed In. We saw everything to see in that area, and that has always been a very favorite trip. And then, of course, we've done San Diego many times. We've done Yosemite. We've been to South Dakota. We've been to South Carolina. We've been to Boston. We've been everywhere.
Well,
and we still are.
What a fun perk of your job! But in a way, you're still working.
Oh,
probably
yeah.
People
it's
are
a big responsibility.
going to you to see what's on the
when
schedule.
When we went to Australia and New Zealand, I had 27 people that went, and so that's a big responsibility to make sure everybody's safe, and that's our first priority wherever we are, even when we're at Pueblo Norte, to make sure that our residents are safe. And so it's a big responsibility, but it's fun.
Yes. Now, you're such an inspiration, and you have such a youthful energy. I read something recently, and it said, I've met people in their 20s who seem old and people in their 80s that seem young. So I thought of you and some of the other vibrant seniors that I've met in my line of work, helping seniors find senior living. And so I just wondered if you have a secret to share on how you seem so full of energy and optimistic in life, something that may help others.
Well, I think staying busy and in watching our residents here through the years, the ones that were more active, the ones that were the busiest, seemingly last the longest. And I think that's my key. I love what I'm doing. I do have a lot of energy. I sometimes think I have too much energy. You need to slow down a little bit. Yes. But I really think the key to the whole thing is staying busy.
I agree.
With my job and with my outside life. I do have a life outside of here. And so I think that's the biggest key, is to just stay busy. So many people have said to me, good friends have said to me, Jo, don't retire. They regretted that they did retire earlier because it's kind of like they didn't have anything to do then. And so I'll know when it's time.
Sure.
And meanwhile, keep going.
Well, you've got a lot of good balance, it sounds like, with your life right now.
I think I do, yes.
Now, Pueblo Norte is going through a lot of renovations right now. Do you want to share a bit about the new addition to your community?
Oh, we're so excited about everything. And I'll start with the memory unit because I personally, along with other people, have wanted this for Pueblo Norte for many years and have seen a need. So we're just so excited about that, and hopefully that'll get all open in August. Then we will be adding another assisted living where our skilled nursing was. We're changing our dietary. We're putting in a new theater. We're going to have more art room. We're going to have a bistro with a restaurant and a bar. So it's really, really exciting what we have here. It's such a wonderful property because of the outside here. And I think that that's brought a lot of our residents here. There's no long dark halls. Everybody has 2 little patios. We have a huge pool. We have a 19 hole putting green. So it's just wonderful seeing everything go here, and we're very excited for all the new renovations.
Yes, for those of you who have not visited Pueblo Norte, they have how many acres? There's many acres.
I think there's about 30.
Like 30 acres. And so when you open your front door, like you enter from the outside, so you open your front door, and really almost everyone has a view of something that kind of looks like a park. Maybe you'll see the golf putt green over here, and you'll see the pool over there, and just tons of citrus trees and just birds all around. So it does make it just kind of very bright and cheery no matter where you go.
It's wonderful. And I really think that during COVID, we did have some cases, but I think the fact that they could be outside a little bit, not locked in their apartments all the time, they could walk outside, they could come over and get their mail with their mask on. And I think being able to do that and enjoy being outside really kept us from having a lot of depression with our residents, and made them very aware of what was happening with the COVID, but still could be able to come outside.
Makes sense, yes. Had the ability to visit more with neighbors, even if you're kind of hollering down, you know, hey, how you doing over there, right? So,
and we had because it is a big community, we were able to have some carry on with some activities because we had enough space to space people away, that we didn't congregate.
There's lots of shaded areas outside.
I think our dietary department was actually delivering close to 500 meals a day during that time, and that was wonderful, really.
Yes. Now, I know you've mentioned a few things. Is there anything you want to add about what makes Pueblo Norte like unique compared to maybe other communities around? What's the most...
I think our residents here really make a difference because it's kind of like a big family. They really, truly care about each other. And of course, we know with the HIPAA laws, we have to be careful. But if one of their friends is sick, they're very caring. They want to know what they can do to help. And I really think the residents here make a big difference.
Well, sometimes friends are just as important as family.
Exactly, as family and staff. We have a wonderful staff here. We work hard, but we play hard. And I think that together, the relationship between the staff, you know, we have dishwashers that have been here 30 some years. We have housekeepers that have been here in their 30 years. And that says a lot for a community, the longevity of people being here and working.
Makes a big difference,
for sure.
Yes. Now, you planted a tree that's out in the courtyard, and I mean, it towers over the second floor of independent living. So you planted that, how long ago was it?
In 1991, the first year that I was here.
I walk by that tree and I think, wow, Joe planted that. And I just wondered if someday, if you ever decide to retire, you know, that plant is going to remain for future generations, and the independent living residents will enjoy that. And I just wondered if you have a legacy, if you were to leave a legacy here for other residents, something for you to be remembered by, what would you like that to be?
I'd like them to remember that I really cared about them, that they weren't, that this wasn't just a job for me. You know, I think I can truthfully say that I've never in the morning ever thought, oh gosh, I don't want to go to work today. Oh no, I don't want to do this today. I really don't think I've ever felt that. I'd like them to remember that I cared about each one of them, about their safety, about their well-being, all the social things that they do.
Yeah, they truly have become your friends as well.
They have become my friends. They really have. I have some very good friends here. And it is like a family to me because I actually spend more time here than I spend with my family. So I'd really like, and I really think that would be how they would remember me.
You're very sincere, and I think that comes through. So, well, that's wonderful. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for being on my podcast today, Songbird Senior stories. And so I will look forward to continuing to see you here and there when I visit.
Oh, of course. And we appreciate what all you do for our community. It means a lot to have that kind of a service right here for our residents.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Joe.
Hello, my name is Stuart Roush. I'm the sales director here at Pueblo Norte Senior Living. I just wanted to take a minute or two to share with you who we are and what we do. Essentially, we have independent living, assisted living, and in the late summer of 2023, we will be adding memory care units as well. Speaking of that, what sets us aside from some of our competitors is the fact that we use the Montessori model in our memory care. Also, we're located on 22 acres of land here in the center of Scottsdale. Please give myself or Fran a call for more information, as well as we can set up a personalized tour for you. Thank you so much, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Hello, I'm Tanya from Homewell Care Services. Homewell provides care for people at home, from help with medication management to showers or meals preparation and any customized tasks that give people a little help so they can continue to live as independently as possible at home. Homewell has a unique program here at Pueblo Norte where we independent living residents can receive care at a discounted price. Since we have an office here on site, our caregivers can stop by throughout the day, helping as needed. Then they can leave and come back a few hours later to help with something else. This comes in handy when someone needs help. For example, getting up ready in the morning or ready for bed at night. Sometimes temporary care is needed after people recover from surgery. And we have some residents who love knowing caregivers will stop by throughout the day. They think of us as their personal assistants. We can do a free assessment anytime, and our caregivers are valley-wide, whether you live in the community or private home. Homewell is licensed, bonded, and insured, and all our qualified caregivers are experienced and background checked. So, for peace of mind, if you benefit from care at home, or if you're a family member who would feel better knowing a loved one is getting the care needed, give us a call. We can do a free assessment anytime. Our program is offered at several independent living communities, and we offer care throughout the valley, so give us a call today.
Hello, I'm Heather with Arizona Songbird Senior Living Solutions. I hope you enjoy my podcast, Songbird Senior Stories. My goal is to bring to a larger audience stories from some of the amazing seniors that I meet every day. I work with our senior population, and there are so many amazing and interesting hobbies I've heard about, and careers and veterans. And so when I help seniors and their families, I'm just always stunned at the stories that I hear. So what I do is I help seniors find senior living, and my services are free since I'm paid a percentage of the first month's rent by the community when I bring a resident. Now you have to contact me first, so don't reach out to senior living communities that you're considering or an online company. A lot of times they're in a different state, and I'm local, so I actually can tour with you. I personally know so many sales directors or group homeowners, so you're going to benefit from my knowledge as I match you up with what the best fit is going to be. So you're going to save a lot of time working with me. I'm going to make calls, check availability, pricing, and look in your desired location as well. So sometimes I can negotiate your terms, whether it's price or move-in date or the deposit or extend a manager's special. And I'm going to come up with a tour schedule so we can usually tour together. I know it can be so overwhelming, these big decisions that you have to make on your own. So it just feels good when you're not all by yourself and making these decisions. Now, since I worked in a community personally and I managed two homes, two group homes, you're going to know that you can trust my knowledge, and it will take into consideration the features and benefits, location, budget, most important, the care needs of who you love that we're trying to place, okay? So I am licensed by the Arizona State Board of Nursing Care Administrators, so I will bring that knowledge to the table as well. So feel free to call me anytime and I'll do a free consultation. Thank you.